Welcome to the Orange Next podcast series.
Welcome back again to a new episode of the Orange Next podcast series. My name is John Coate and I will be your host and moderator for today. Today is the podcast are going into Microsoft Ignite 2021 and in particular Microsoft Cognitive Search during Ignite. I have a couple of guests with me today who will introduce themselves. Let me start with Luis. Can you introduce yourself? Who are you?
Hey, John.
What do you do?
Sure. It's a pleasure to be with you. I am Group Program Manager for Azure Cognitive Search. I've been at Microsoft essentially since I left college. I work on creating cloud services that use artificial intelligence capabilities. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Welcome on the show. And we see more faces, some faces from Howden. Can I start with you, Chris?
Yeah, sure, John. So my name is Chris van Ravenswaay, and I currently work as a Global Business Solution Manager at Howden. Howden is a global leading manufacturer of air and gas handling applications. And I'm based in the Netherlands, but I have a role that is kind of global, so I support the whole of Howden in a wide variety of IT initiatives.
Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
And Ben, can you introduce yourself?
Hey, John. My name is Ben Cook. I'm the product manager of artificial intelligence at Howden, which includes the Smart Records application, which we'll be talking a bit about today. My role is to match Howden's rich history and knowledge with the latest knowledge mining capabilities with products like Azure Cognitive Search.
Very good. And Mane, last but not least, can you introduce
Thanks,
yourself?
John. Yeah, you mean introduce myself again?
Yeah.
Good to be back.
Yeah, good to be back.
My name is Mane Lambeens. I'm a data scientist and also product owner for our cognitive search solution within Orange Next. So I'm continuously looking at new initiatives, new technology we can integrate with search. So Ignite is a big deal in that sense.
Good. So let me start off with some of the questions that I have for Ignite, what I raised myself. So first question to you, Luis. Can you tell us about Ignite, what kind of event it is, and what to expect in particular with Azure Cognitive Search?
Yeah, so Ignite is a digital event where Microsoft shows all the latest innovations that we have to share with the world. We're very excited about this conference. The Azure Cognitive Search team is because we are announcing a new capability that we call Semantic Search. This is a collaboration with the Bing organization, where we're bringing the best models that they have, state-of-the-art technology. So this is a very exciting time for us. We hope that folks will be able to leverage and try these new capabilities.
Very good, very good. That is awesome to see those new features. Can you tell us a bit more about that importance of that and what does it bring to the people? And can you elaborate a little bit more on semantic search?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So semantic search has several components. As I mentioned earlier, we're bringing the best deep neural networks that we have in the Bing organization to bring you several capabilities. The first one is semantic ranking. This has to do with the ability to give you more relevant documents because the system actually understands semantics or meaning. Usually systems are based for or are there traditional search systems use keyword-based ranking, right? So think of an inverted index where we know what words and terms to look for, but with semantics is less about the syntax or the specific terms. It's more about the meaning, right? So we actually understand when you issue a query like I want to learn about machine learning, we understand the meaning of it. So if there is a document that says quick start on ML, we will bring that to the top of the results. So that's semantic ranking. The other one is semantic answers. That has to do with the ability to not only give you a list of results in terms of relevance, but also give you an answer. So if you ask, hey, how do I release pressure on this valve, right? If we identify a passage in a technical document, let's say that actually answers that question, we will actually give you that answer. We will even highlight the important parts out of that. And similarly, we have something that we call semantic captions, where the top results, for the top results, we're going to show you the most relevant passages so that you can quickly triage through the information, through the results, and decide which ones to kind of go deep into. Very exciting times.
Very exciting times. Very exciting. So seeing where Microsoft is coming with all those new features, I'm curious about how this could tackle some of the challenges customers are facing. So today I have one of our customers in this podcast, Howden, Chris and Ben. Welcome again. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
So my question to you, and I think the first one I will point to Chris, is can you tell me more about your business and especially the challenges you see?
Sure, John. So Howden is an engineering company. We have like over 160 years of experience and a very strong global network of experts in more than 100 countries. And we serve customers in oil and gas, renewable energy, wastewater treatment, mining, and many more sectors. And we engineer very complex equipment that needs routine maintenance. And to really enable our customer success, we have to adapt and continuously innovate to meet their needs. And more and more customers are turning to us for technical support, for instance, for finding the right part for their machine, but also to make them help run the machine more effectively. This is partially caused by some sort of knowledge erosion that we are seeing happening right now. These days, customers not always have the expertise anymore, experienced technicians for maintenance, and they start to rely more and more on equipment manufacturers like Howden to keep the equipment running. And our equipment, it tends to last for decades, with some machines even dating back to the 1950s.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can imagine that a lot of the information that we need today still predates the digital revolution and still exists only on paper or in electronic format in very unstructured data silos. And today, what we see is that customers really want answers fast, you know, and when we are not able to return answers quickly, it's because we are not able to find it in a short period of time. We are spending too much time on finding the right information. And we really want to deliver information as a service, but finding good quality information in a matter of minutes is just impossible for us.
Yeah, I can imagine. And knowing all these challenges, Chris, how do you end up with Azure Cognitive Search?
Well, it's quite interesting. We learned about cognitive search when Microsoft released their first demo, the JFK files.
Oh, yeah.
That must be somewhere in 2018, I guess.
I think so, well, yeah.
Yeah. So they used cognitive search to analyze all the files from the JFK case, and this really triggered my imagination. So I imagined using this technology to analyze large volumes of project documentation. And we were fortunate to be able to work with Microsoft on developing a first proof of concept. And we were really, really impressed by the possibilities. And this kind of triggered another initiative in another part of the business. Our aftermarket team in the US, they took on the challenge to develop a knowledge mining solution with Azure Cognitive Search. So Ben, can you tell us a little bit more about smart records?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Chris. So that's right. In our US-based aftermarket business, we saw a big challenge that could potentially be solved using this technology. Partially driven by things like the e-commerce revolution, the expectation for fast and accurate responses for customer inquiries has never been higher. We found a strong relationship between faster quoting and greater win conversion. So the faster we could get a quote out the door, the faster we get that in the hands of a customer, the more likely it is that that customer will purchase an order through us. So when quoting a replacement part, a replacement or parts, it's critical to understand two things really. What was originally sold to the customer and what has changed to that piece of equipment since then.
Yeah.
Luckily for Howden, we have such a large installation base around the world through our long history and acquisitions that Chris touched upon, going back to, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So unluckily for Howden, that means a lot of the data is old and hasn't been digitally transformed, like Chris was talking about. So these records are coming through countless paper records and legacy databases to find the right information. Smart Records solves this problem by leveraging Azure Cognitive Search to sift through any document that we scan. So once we scan a document, it can be searched through Azure Cognitive Search. And it will make that information available to proposals engineers who need that information to produce a quote. So through what we've done so far in the aftermarket business in the United States, we've been able to realize a day in improvement for our average time to quote. So each quote is our average time to quote has come down a day already, just with the proof of concept we've done.
Got it. So Ben, so smart records in itself already gain some business value, what I heard you're saying basically. So why do you want to enhance smart records with semantic search capabilities that Louis just touched upon?
Right, so smart records is already gaining business value, right? However, it was originally designed for a couple different scenarios. So mainly it was designed to extract specific metadata that we at the start deemed important. So think of customer names, locations, serial numbers, purchase order numbers. These are very valuable terms for our engineers to search by, because it leads to many different databases and many different other documents. But what if that engineer wanted to find information about a rotor redesign or a specific order number, and then this large order was contained within, this was a large order which made up hundreds of documents, and only 2 of those documents are pertaining to the specific redesign of this rotor. Traditional ranking might push down these 2 documents down in the results, which do not have a high serial number term frequency if you're searching by serial number and then the redesign. So using what Louis was talking about with semantic search, it understands the engineer's true intent of finding documents specifically describing the rotor redesign or a rotor material redesign, and that's really what the engineer, is looking for. So using traditional keyword matching, the document would also have to contain that term for it to be returned with the result too. With semantic search, it's really understanding that the fan or the hub or the turbine all could mean the same thing as a rotor. So you don't necessarily have to search for specifically rotor redesign. It should understand that a fan redesign is really meaning the same thing. And the same thing with material. So if you're looking for a material redesign, it will understand that terms such as alloy or steel are all pertaining to material, and change and rework are all related to the same word as redesign. So the proposal engineer is kind of freed from the burden of knowing what term is contained on the document, and more just what the idea of the document is, what the topic of the document is.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, got it. So Mana, OrangeNext helped Howden with this new enhancement of smart records.
Mm-hmm.
So it is capable of handling semantic searches, for just Ben just touched upon. Could you share some insights on this process, how we used Microsoft's new semantic search capabilities in the case of Howden Smart Records?
Yeah, sure. So just turning it on, it was very simple. It took all 5 minutes, but that's as it was designed to be, so that was great.
Thank you, Louis.
Thank you, job well done. But yeah, then of course we still have to use it correctly. And there were definitely some challenges there, some experimentation we had to do. But yeah, the real challenge is kind of twofold. We need to provide it rich text fields that map well semantically, but they also have to be discriminative. If all the documents contain all the same words, then there's nothing to re-rank in that sense. So they have to be domain keywords that discriminate between documents. And the second thing is that we still rely on the syntactic ranker to return the right result set. And then the semantic component, it will re-rank the results into what is semantically most relevant. So we have to make sure that the metadata we provide, it's inclusive enough that the right documents come up, based on part of the search so that we can use the semantic component well, but it shouldn't be too restrictive. Otherwise, there is no interesting metadata to re-rank it with.
Yeah.
So we had to play around a bit with that and which fields work best for that. What should we extract? Maybe process them a bit differently before they end up in the index. And then, of course, we need to understand what it is this semantic ranker can do. Because if we, for example, like Ben said, only search on a serial number, it won't add anything. Because that is very specific sequence of numbers. You just want a document that contains that, that's it. Semantic search won't do anything else for you there. But if you indeed have to combine it with a serial number with something else, for example, design changes, like Ben said, then it becomes very interesting, because in those scenarios, we saw that semantic search really outperformed syntactic ranker by a lot.
Got it. So Louise, hearing what Man is saying, how does it fit in the vision that Microsoft had with semantic search?
Yeah, no, I love to see the application of the technology that we have been working on, because that's what brings us joy, right? When it hits the customer and you see value, right?
That's why you do it.
I really like to see how Orange Next and Howden were able to onboard into our preview and modify their application. I should point out, just like Mane mentioned, right? Like while it really takes just changing a few query parameters, and that's pretty straightforward. What you are essentially unlocking in those 5 minutes is, essentially hundreds of dev years, right, and millions of dollars of investment that have occurred in the Bing organization, right? So I try not to take that for granted, right? Like we essentially were building on the shoulders of giants to release this semantic search capability. I like that AI is being used not only for retrieving the most relevant documents, but AI is also used for the extraction of information from these documents, right? From this unstructured content that you have, in order to serve the need of the customer, right? In order to find the right documents, the right technical documents, or the right sales documents for your customers, right? So it's very exciting to see the application that both Orange Next and Howden have put together.
Yeah. What I hear you say is basically that semantic search leverages the same state-of-the-art deep learning models that Bing have out of the box, that allows search engines to accurately understand the end user intent, basically. So that is really exciting to see, of course, Louise, that we can use the state-of-the-art models from Bing. That is nice, of course, to see. But that said, I want to understand what can partners like us, like Orange Next, add to the value of Azure Cognitive Search, and how can customers like Howden use that in their solution to meet their particular needs? Can you elaborate on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so look, partners like you are closer to the customer, right? You really understand the customer needs, you understand the very specifics, and Azure Cognitive Search is a very flexible system. So, I mean, it has all these knobs and bells and whistles and parameters, and that you can use to tweak the way that the system works, right? So it's nice to have partners like you that understand how Azure Cognitive Search works in order to meet the specific needs of the customer, right? So yes, you have this engine that is very powerful, and you know how to set the configuration just right, how to add additional capabilities to it as well. Azure Cognitive Search is very extensible. So for instance, I know that you have added custom skills in the past, right, to further understand, let's say, like technical content, right, like part numbers, how to normalize the names of different parts, how to add, let's say, synonyms, how to, for instance, add custom entity lookup skills and so forth, right? So there are all these extra extensibility points that a partner like you can use, but only within the context of the customer needs, right? We create an engine that is very generic in a sense, right? We want everyone to use it. Now you can specialize it, essentially.
So how do you see that, Mana?
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why we started building on this platform, of course, that it facilitates customization in the direction that we can need for the domain that we have the case in. And that's really great. And especially in the case of things like semantic search, we've of course looked into this technology ourselves, but like Louis said, training these models, creating these models, it requires such an enormous amount of time and data. That's, it's just difficult to come by. So what Microsoft does with this is it makes it accessible for everyone to use this, and it also changes the way that we can develop for the Azure Cognitive Search and develop the way we have custom skills. Because we have syntactic re-ranking, we can extract more generalizable metadata that wouldn't normally directly be searched for, but we might want for post-analysis or something like that. But now it can actually influence ranking and also generalize the metadata we have within the customer to other cases, for example. Yeah. It's just, really interesting.
Yeah. And from a customer perspective, anything to add, Chris or Ben?
Of course, nothing really technical.
You can try.
I can try, but I'm not going to. I really look at this from a business point of view. How can it actually provide value? And what we started to realize at some point is that the speed of search alone is not enough. We really wanted to have more relevant and more higher quality answers. And semantic search really recognizes the user's intent. And this is really a game changer for Howden. Now we can rely even more on the results of a search query in smart records, knowing that search ranking is now making more sense and is more aligned with the intended question.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest value for us. Anything you want to add to this, Ben?
Yeah, so in addition to having that semantic search ability and understanding the user's intent, using the various levers that Louis had mentioned, with tweaking the ranker using synonyms or custom skills, we can basically fill in where semantic search would fall short. So adding industry specific terms or just Howden specific terms where that's not part of the data set that they worked with, we can accommodate that using just additional custom skills or synonyms. So there's lots of various levers that we can tweak to accommodate our business case here.
Yeah, got it. So during Ignite, a lot of the information and also this information is shared, and I would really love to share the possibility to the audience what they need to watch related to our topic of today. So a question to you, Louise, when you know what Microsoft will present, where would you want people to go to in order to learn more about Azure Cognitive Search during Ignite?
Yeah, if you go to aka.ms/semantic, that will take us to our main page, right? So you can learn there about Azure Cognitive Search, including the new semantic search capabilities. Or you can go to aka.ms/semantic-Howden. We have created a case study that explains how Howden is using Azure Cognitive Search and its new semantic search capabilities to solve customer problems. So check that out. We also have a mechanics video where our director Pablo Castro discusses semantic search. So just search for the mechanics video on YouTube, and it's a great primer on semantic search.
Very good. And I will mention the aka.ms links in the comments of the podcast, of course, that everybody knows. So my final question to you all, what is your key takeaway for today? And I want to start with you, Louise.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just throw one more aka.ms link for you to add.
Another one to make a comment.
Yes. Look, I want you to try our new semantic search capabilities. This is a preview, so you have to sign up for it. You can sign up for it at aka.ms/semantic preview. Give it a shot. It doesn't matter if you're creating a mobile application, web application, or line of business application. As long as you have a search bar, you can power it with Azure Cognitive Search. Give it a shot.
Yeah, great. Chris and Ben, what is your takeaway?
I just want to briefly take this away from the semantic search element and just look at the collaboration so far and really to stay on top of our market or your market as well, I guess. It's very important to understand the needs of your customer. And Howden recognizes the value of turning our knowledge and our expertise and our vast library of information into a new strategic advantage by delivering information as a service. And although we are still at the beginning of our digital journey, we can already say that the technology that was provided by Microsoft, combined with the expertise and knowledge of partners like Orange Next, is really making a big difference. Companies like Howden, so like Microsoft and Orange Next, you can enable businesses like Howden to stay competitive through technology and innovation. So that is really great.
Great. Ben, anything for you?
Yeah, just to follow up on what Chris had touched upon there. When expectations are being pushed higher and higher, and seems like faster and faster by developments in technology, it's important to be able to effectively leverage this technology where it makes sense and where it brings value, real business value in this changing world. And semantic search is one of these examples of this technology, in which people are becoming familiar with it in their personal lives with how they're doing Bing searching or Google searching or any kind of searching online, and are starting to expect that kind of technology or that kind of functionality in their professional lives. And our customers are expecting that too. So Orange Next has been an invaluable partner with us in making this technology accessible to our organization. So it's been a really great partnership so far.
Thank you, Ben. So Mana, anything from your side to share to the audience?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to take to heart what Chris and Ben said and think about what Azure Cognitive Search could mean for your business. It's an incredibly rich platform, a lot of customization options, and as you can see, but what Luis is telling you, it's continuously Microsoft adding to the depth here. So really think about what it can do for you, because lots of possibilities.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you all, guys. It was a great conversation. Time's up. So thank you very much for your time to share your story with the people. And on behalf of Luis, Chris, Ben, and Mane, I would say see you next time and for the new episode of the Orange Next podcast series. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Orange Next podcast series.